We are going to start today in a nice seated posture. So once you're all set, feel free to join us in a comfortable seat. That can mean legs extended, legs crossed, just whatever feels good for you and your knees when we're getting started. And then we'll meet up there. Again, take your time. And once you find that nice cozy seat, I'd like to invite you to gently place the palms with their face up on your legs. So this is Hasta Mudra. It's a receiving symbol with the hands. Again, only if that feels comfortable and right for you today. And then we'll eventually gently draw the eyes closed. So again, take a couple moments, find the posture that works for you, and we'll meet up there. And today we're going to be focusing our practice on the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is located just below the belly button in the sacrum area. So sometimes if you bring your hand to your low back, you can feel that big kind of bony area. That's the sacrum. So the sacral chakra is the front and the back body right around that area. And our sacral chakra is a very vibrant orange color, light energy right in that area. So if you'd like to, maybe you possibly draw your energy to just below the belly button, again in that sacral area of the body, and possibly visualize a beautiful, bright orange light emanating out from that area. And you can visualize it almost like a cone shape, like a megaphone, from the front of your body going outwards, and then also the back. The sacral chakra really correlates with our sexuality, creativity, also how much we receive joy and pleasure from our life. So maybe bringing your awareness or attention to how much joy, pleasure, creativity you find in your life, you're willing to receive and also give. Maybe you begin to feel the inhales and exhales in your body, breathing into this light at the base of your body. Big inhales and exhales, just finding a nice release. Take a couple big breaths here, allowing any internal or external distractions to begin to fade away to the background as you arrive here and now. We'll take a couple more big breaths, inhaling to feed that orange light at the base of the body, exhaling to find a nice release, allowing the mind to settle. Eventually begin to peel the eyes open and find somewhere to look on the ground ahead of you, about 3 to 6 feet, so much so that the eyes are only about halfway open. And notice while you're here if you can still keep the gaze internal. In other words, continue to feel the body breathe. Maybe keep your mind anchored in that visualization of the orange light beneath your belly button. Keep the mind inwards. And from here, if your legs are extended, gently bring them in either to a cross-legged posture, so maybe you just bring the ankles just gently crossed in front of you, or if you're feeling a little bit open right now, we'll make our way to Baddha Konasana legs, which means the insides of the feet touch and the knees splay outward. So find what feels good in your body right now. If at any point it feels like too much on the knees and hips in either, feel free to extend. We're going to start with what's known as Sufi grind. So if your legs are in Baddha Konasana, you'll grab a hold of your ankles. If you're in cross-legged, you'll just place your hands somewhere on your knees. And we're going to follow the pace of our own breath. So let's take a big inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to begin to shift the shoulders to the right, and then you'll go forward. Inhale towards the left and up. So it should feel a nice release all in the low back and the pelvis. Exhaling down and around. Inhaling up and back. Again, move slowly. Bring your awareness to the pelvis, the low back, the hips, and just notice what you feel as you move. When I go forward, I feel a nice stretch in like the side of my low back. Do about one more round. Again, follow your own breath. Once you come back to center, we're going to go the opposite direction. So you'll take a big inhale and then exhale, left and forward, dropping the chest towards the feet, inhaling up and around. And it's not so much about how deep you go, more about the stretch that you're receiving. So find where this works in your body and really work on synchronizing your movements with the breath. So we exhale when we go down, inhale when we come back around. Do about one more big breath and cycle here. Doing an awesome job. Feel into the lower body. And we'll eventually meet back up and seated. Pause here again. Check in with the legs. If it feels like too much in Baddha Konasana, feel free to cross the legs or extend them out. We're going to take a nice side stretch here. So on your next inhale, hands reach up, palms touch. On the exhale, right hand drops down, and then you'll reach on over toward the right hand side with the left hand. Keep that bottom hand nice and light. So notice I can wiggle my fingers here. So keeping the work in the core, but maybe you bend the elbow and stretch a little deeper. Should get a nice stretch along the side waist here. Relax the upper shoulder down away from your ear. Let's take one more full, big round of breath here. On your next inhale, both hands come back up, palms touch. We'll go straight to the other side. So exhale, left hand comes down, and then reach those right fingertips up overhead. Maybe you add a subtle bend to that left elbow. Continue to anchor down. Press that right hip down towards the ground beneath you. Low belly gently pulls in, and reach those fingertips towards the side wall. Notice what you feel here. Keep the mind and the body. Focus on what you feel, the breath. One more full round. Inhale, come on up to center, palms touch. Exhale, hands come down. If you're in Baddha Konasana, legs, inhale, gently close the legs, and we're going to swing them behind us. So make your way to tabletop position, hands and knees. From here, bring your big toes to touch, knees spread just wider than hips distance, and then sink your hips on back to the heels and allow your body to drape down. If it feels like too much on the knees to have them bent as such, feel free to put maybe a pillow, blanket, padding between the thighs and the calf. That'll help release the knees a bit. Take a couple moments to check in. Notice where your mind is at. Maybe you connect it back to inhaling to that sacral chakra, that beautiful orange light coming from below the belly button and from the low back. And take about one more big breath here. On your next inhale, gently make your way back up, tabletop position, hands and knees. Once you get here, bring the wrists directly under your shoulders, and then you're going to step the knees just behind the hips. So notice my knees are not directly below the hip points, just slightly back. We're going to do the similar thing like we did in seated, so Sufi grinds, but now that we're in tabletop position. So on your next inhale, breathe deeply to the low belly. Exhale, begin to shift your hips to the right. Come forward and down, and then back to the left and up on the inhale. So also kind of known as hip circles. Coming forward, exhale, inhale, up and back. Almost imagining like you're making circles with your hips around the knees. So again, feel into the lower body. Maybe you feel this in the outsides of the hips. Maybe you feel this in the pelvis. Just loosening up the area, working into the low back, the hip points. Do about one more round or so, making really big circles. And then once you get back to neutral, we'll switch. So you'll take a big inhale once you pause. On your exhale, begin to rotate in the opposite direction. Try to synchronize your breath with the movement. So going down and around, big circles like you're drawing circles with your hips around your knees. And feel into the body, move slowly. And we're taking more organic movements here. Sacral chakra is known for creation, creativity, and that's more organic than linear, if you will. Take about 2 more rounds, follow your breath, move into places that just feel good to go. 1 more big round, keep your mind in the body, just let yourself feel. And we'll eventually make our way to neutral. Doing an awesome job so far. And then once you come back to neutral, big inhale, big toes touch, knees spread wide, child's pose, sink the hips back to the heels. Head can just kind of dangle in the air, rest on the ground. And maybe even once you get there, only if it feels good, you gently sway the hips side to side, just letting yourself sink down. Allow the shoulders to stay relaxed down the back body, away from the ears, lots of space around the neck. Awesome job. Moving into a revolved version of this child's pose next. So on your next inhale, look forward towards the front of your mat. On the exhale, place the left elbow down right in front of your face. We're going to stack the palms. So inhale, right hand lifts, stack the palms. So we're going for some sort of version of elbow, wrist, wrist, then elbow. And then as you do so, you press the top palm into the left. Your body will naturally pivot as your gaze goes towards the right-hand side. Again, if this is too much on the knees, add padding or just come up a bit, lifting the hips up off the heels. We'll pause here for a couple big breaths. As you're here, relax the low belly. Sometimes we have the tendency to pull it in to find safety and security. Let it go. Soften the jaw. 1 more big breath here. Relax the back of your neck as you slightly pull the chin in towards the chest. On your next exhale, top elbow drops down. We're going to swap them on out. So set that right elbow down. Inhale, left elbow lifts. So same twist, other side. Really try to press the palms in towards another. Shoulders pull down the back body. Relax the jaw. A couple more deep breaths. Just notice what you feel. Again, there's no right or wrong, good or bad. There's just what is. So be with the body as it is. Send your breath through the body and just let yourself feel. 1 more big, big breath here. Awesome job. On your exhale, top elbow comes down. And let's just land in neutral child's pose. So extend the arms out and lower the upper body just for a couple moments. Again, take some big breaths. So maybe on the inhales, you feel the back body expand. Send the breath to the sacrum, and on the exhales, release from that same area. Feel your body melt down. 1 more big breath. On your next inhale, come on up, tabletop position, hands and knees. On the exhale, curl your toes under, lift the knees up off the ground, and then press the hips up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog. So take a couple moments here. Maybe you pedal out the feet, bending the knees. Maybe you shift the weight forward and back or side to side. Just allow yourself to feel into the backs of the legs. Let them open up a bit. And also get used to the head being below the hips. So take some big breaths. Again, find where this feels okay for you. 1 more full breath. Breathe through the backs of the legs. Alrighty, moving into a little flow next. So whenever your next inhale arises, see if you can lift that right foot up off the ground. As you do so, bend the knee like you want to kick your booty with the heel. So heel comes in. Exhale. On your next inhale, can you lift the knee out toward the right-hand side? Maybe the knee points towards the right wall. Maybe it lifts up towards the ceiling, trying to stack one hip on top of another. As you're here, drop the right armpit down towards the mat. Keep the shoulders neutral. You got it. 1 more big breath. On your next inhale, begin to shift forward to plank pose. As you do so, step that right foot up, between your hands. If you need to help it with that right hand, feel free to do so. And we're just going to simply drop that back knee down. Pause here, inhale. And then on your next exhale, we're going to step the right hand on the inside of that left foot. So you're going to heel toe, or excuse me, the right foot. You're going to heel toe the right foot out towards the side so the hands can be directly wrists under the shoulders. And then from here, on your next inhale, curl your back toes under and see if you can lift the knee up off the ground. All right, so this is lizard pose. Pause here. If it feels like too much, knee can sit down. That is a-okay. If your knee is lifted on your next inhale, maybe you take a step further, tenting up the fingers and pull the heart forward. So when I say tent up the fingers, my palms are lifted up off the ground and I'm just on my fingertips. Let's take about 2 more big breaths. Press that front heel down into the mat, drag it back. Light up the pelvic area a little bit more. On your next exhale, lower the palms to the ground and set the knee back down. Inhale, inch your foot forward or towards the center so the ankle is back directly under the knee. Pause here. If your knee is slightly behind the hip point, step it in a bit so the knee comes right under the hip. And then if you need padding or something under the knee, feel free to place it there. We're going into low lunge next. So inhale, hands sweep up, palms touch at the top, interlace your fingers. Exhale, hands come to that thigh. So we're going to pause here, work on the alignment in this low lunge for a couple moments. As you're here, imagine pressing that right heel down into the mat and dragging it backwards. So that'll instantly light up that front leg. Same thing, but imagine pressing that back knee down and dragging it forward, almost like you want to ripple up the mat beneath you. Legs should be working at that point. From here, imagine pulling the low belly in towards the spine. So pull the low belly in. That'll lengthen the back body, so it'll cause the tailbone to go down a bit and open up the space in the pelvic area. So take a big breath like this. Lower body's working, as is the core. 1 more big breath. All right, let's add a little side stretch. Inhale, hands come up. As you come up to center, right hand grasped around left wrist. And then exhale, give yourself a slight tilt over toward that right hand side. So keep those legs active, press down through that front heel, back knee presses down and forward. Breathe to the left side. You're doing a great job. 1 more big breath. Inhale, come up to center, palms touch. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot, and then step that knee back behind you on the ground. Big inhale here. On your exhale, lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Inhale, low cobra, peel the heart up. Exhale, child's pose. So knees spread wide, big toes touch, sink the hips back to the heels. Take a moment, check in. How are you feeling right now? Where's your mind? Bring it to your body. And take some big breaths. So breathing into that sacral chakra, sending the breath all the way to the base of the body. Let's take 1 more full round of breath. And we're going to do that same flow on the other side now. So when your next inhale arises, make your way up, tabletop position, hands and knees. On the exhale, curl the toes under, lift the hips up, and press it on back, downward facing dog. Again, take a moment or 2, find your posture, heels drive down. It's okay if they're not touching the ground. Just work towards pressing the hips towards the back wall. 1 more big breath. And when you're ready, follow an inhale to lift that left foot up off the ground. Bend the knee like you want to kick your heel to your booty. Maybe you pause here. Maybe you take it a little bit further on your next inhale. Knee comes out towards the side, maybe up towards the ceiling. Drop that left armpit down towards the mat. Keep those shoulders parallel with the ground. 1 more big breath. Alrighty, on your next inhale, shift forward, plank pose. As you do so, knee comes in towards center, and we're going to step the foot up between the hands. If you need to help it up, feel free to do so. Drop that back knee down, and then we're going to make our way to lizard pose. So heel toe the foot out toward the left. Left hand comes on the inside, so much so that the wrist directly under the shoulders. If this is enough for you, you are going to stay right here. If you want to go a little bit further, you'll curl the back toes under and lift that back knee up off the ground, all right? So pause, check out what's going on here. If you want to move a little bit further, you'll tent up the fingers, so come onto fingertips, and as you do so, lengthen the back body and draw the heart forward. Breathe here, press down through that front heel, and then back foot presses down as well as you really try to lift the knee up, straightening that back leg. 2 more big breaths. Should feel this in the hips and the pelvic area. 1 more full round of breath. You're doing great. Alrighty, if you're on your fingertips on your exhale, set the hands down. Back knee sits down as well. And then on your next inhale, step that foot back in towards center so the ankle's under the knee. Making our way to our low lunge. So inhale, lift on up. If you need to, as I do, scooch that back knee so it's directly under the hip point. Hands reach up, palms touch, and then interlace the fingers. Exhale, drop them on down to that front thigh. Pause here for a couple moments. Let's work on the alignment on this side. So take a moment, press down through that front heel. Really try to drive it down through the mat. That'll light up the front leg. Back knee drives down and presses forward. Again, you're not going to notice movement, but imagine like you want to ripple up the mat beneath you. That'll fire up your legs. Working into the low back next, belly button gently pulls in towards spine. That'll introduce some space in the low back as the tailbone gently draws down towards the mat. Take a breath or 2 here. Breathe through the shape. 1 more big breath. All right, let's add that side stretch. Inhale, hands come out and around. Left hand grasps around right wrist. And on your exhale, maybe you tilt it on over toward the left-hand side. Keep the shoulders relaxed down the back body. Legs are working here, you got it. 2 more big breaths. 1 more full round of breath. Inhale, hands come up to center, palms touch. Exhale, hands come down, frame that front foot. Bring that front knee back behind, set it on the mat. Big inhale, and then exhale, lower yourself all the way down. Inhale, low cobra, pull the heart up off the mat. Exhale, child's pose. Knees spread wide, touch the big toes behind you, and let yourself rest for a couple moments. Take some big breaths. Notice maybe you feel heat building in the body as the heart rate has increased a bit. Just allow yourself to be with whatever you feel right now. Breathe deeply, filling the lungs on the inhales. Exhaling, melting the body down. Relax the jaw and the shoulders. Take 1 more full round of breath here. Whenever your next inhale arises, gently begin to walk the hands back up towards you until you're sitting up on the heels. Same thing here, if it's too much on the knees to sit back on the heels, by all means feel free to put pillow blocks, anything in between the calves and the thighs, or sit up on a block, that's totally fine. We're going to move to a reclined, restorative version of camel pose. So take a look, make sure the knees are directly extended in front of the hip points, and then we're going to bring the hands behind us on the ground. So your choice, you can be on fingertips, palms can be on the ground, fingertips can face forward, they can face towards the side and back, just kind of works, or find what works in your body. This is a slight back bend, so whenever your next inhale arises, can you begin to lift the chest? Maybe the head drops back. Maybe you imagine like there's a softball between your chin and neck that you're trying to keep there. So again, find what feels okay in your body. You want to feel like you're pulling the belly button forward and the chest up towards the ceiling. Let's take 2 more big breaths. 1 more full round of breath. All right, on your next inhale, slowly come back up. Exhale, hands to the thighs. Take a breath or 2. Your choice if eyes are open or closed. Just notice how you feel after that. Now, if that felt like enough for you, you're going to do that exact thing 1 more time. If you want to move 1 step further, we're going to actually stand up, bringing the hips over the knee points. So find what works in your body today. Just find where you can breathe, and where it feels okay in the low back. If you're up on the knees, curl the toes under behind you, and we're gonna bring the hands to the low back. So your choice. Fingertips can face down, or you can wrap the hands around the hips with the thumbs kind of pressing into the low back. The sacrum, again, that's personal preference, what feels good in your body. Make sure the knees are directly under the hip points, and as we're here, we want to keep the hips over the heels, or the knees the whole time. All right, big breath in. Can you lift the heart, press the hips over the knees, squeeze the elbows towards each other. On the exhale, maybe you begin to peel on back, just like we did in that first version. So head can drop back. You can imagine that you're trying to keep the chin slightly pulled in towards the chest. Wherever you are, keep pressing the hips forward, lifting the chest up like it wants to touch the ceiling. 2 more big breaths. 1 more full round of breath. On your next inhale, slowly come back up, no matter what version you're in. On the exhale, slowly lower, hips to heels, rest for a moment. Notice what you feel, your choice if you want eyes open or closed. And once you feel like your low back has neutralized a bit, gently begin to walk the hands out in front of you and just allow your body to fold forward, coming into a nice child's pose once again. Breathe into the low back here. Inhaling, bringing in space. Exhaling any excess energy. Couple more big breaths here. Breathing deeply. And only when you're ready, only when you feel like your back has neutralized a bit, gently make your way, walking the hands back up towards sitting on the heels. And then we're going to swing the legs around out in front of us. So tilt over to one side, swing the legs in front of you, and then give yourself a little wiggle of the knees. We did a lot of work on the knees right there. Going to move into a couple last postures before we make our way to Shavasana, first of which is back to the Baddha Konasana legs. So insides of the feet together, knees spread wide. Pause here for a moment. Your choice. Hands can rest on the ankles or somewhere on the lower legs. Sit up super, super tall on your inhale. If you want to stay here, feel free to do so. If you want to go a little bit deeper, maybe you begin to just tilt the body forward. If it feels like a lot on the knees, feel free to put padding, pillows, blocks under the knees to help support. Our goal here is to draw the heart forward and keep the back long rather than really reaching and crunching up the upper body. So breathe deeply to the hip points. Only move to the point that feels okay in your body. Relax the jaw, soften the shoulders. Breathe into that sacral chakra. Allow yourself to connect with that inner sense of creation, creativity, the center that we receive love, pleasure, joy in our lives. Imagine sending some new, refreshed energy to that space. 1 more big breath here. On your next inhale, slowly peel on up. 1 more, stretch, opening up those hip flexors. Again, decide how far you want to go with this. It's going to be a wide-legged fold, so you can extend your legs very wide. They can be quite close together. Find what feels comfortable in your body. Once you find that shape, we're going to press the knees down towards the ground and then pull the pinky toes back towards you, or in other words, insides of the thighs roll out and back. So we're going for that sort of motion in the legs. Inhale, sit up super tall. This may be where you stop. That is a-okay. If you want to, again, move a little bit deeper, maybe you begin to just slightly walk the hands forward. Really focus on pressing the knees down, rolling those inner thighs out and back behind you so the pinky toes pull back. Couple big breaths here. Breathe into the hips. Breathe into the low back. 2 more full breaths. Relax the jaw, soften your shoulders. 1 more big breath. On your next inhale, walk your hands back up towards you. On the exhale, gently use your hands to close the legs out in front of you. We're gonna lie down next, so inch yourself forward if you need space. Take a look back. Inhale, hands reach out, and then on your exhale, slowly lower down one vertebra at a time. On your next inhale, bring the knees in towards the chest, making yourself into a ball shape. Arms wrap around the knees. Maybe you rock side to side. And as you do so, if you're introducing a rock, imagine pressing the low back down to the mat as you rock. So give yourself a little low back massage. And from here, I'm going to leave the last posture or two up to you. So maybe you flow into a happy baby, so flexing the feet, holding on to the lower legs as you lift them. Maybe you do that butterfly leg shape Baddha Konasana laying down, or maybe you do something totally different. So find any shape, movement, motion, whatever it is that just suits your body right now. Tap into that intuitive state, that inner state of creation in the sacral chakra, and just let yourself flow to what feels good before we make our way in Shavasana. Again, take your time. Even if you need to get up and move around, feel free to do so. And only when you feel ready to rest will eventually meet up, laying completely down on the ground. So legs and arms extended. Again, take your time, only meet there when you're ready. Once you make your way to the final resting posture, gently draw your eyes closed and begin to soften your body down towards the ground beneath you. Begin to invite in a soft, easy, relaxed nature to your mind, to your body, to the space all around and within you. Begin to soften your body even further, starting by relaxing the crown of the head. Soften your forehead and your eyebrows. Allow the eyes to sink back towards the skull. Relax your temples. Soften the cheekbones. And relax the jaw. Allow the lips to soften. Relax the teeth. And gently float the tongue down away from the roof of the mouth. Relax the back of your head and your scalp. Soften the ears. Relax the back of your neck, the sides and the front, allowing the throat to open. Melt the shoulders towards the ground beneath you as you relax the upper arms, the elbows. Soften the lower arms and the wrists. Relax the hands, allowing the fingers to naturally curl inwards. Soften the chest, the space around your heart. As you relax the rib cage and the belly, allow every vertebra to melt towards the ground beneath you, softening the back body. Relax the sacrum, the hips, the glutes, and the pelvic area. Taking a moment to pause in this region and just notice how it feels, as this is where the sacral chakra exists. Begin to relax the upper legs and the knees, Soften your lower legs, the ankles. Relax your feet, allowing every toe to get a little bit lighter. Notice if you're holding on anywhere else in your body, and just let go. Allow this inner state of softness, relaxation, and ease to translate to your mind, softening the mind as though it's a muscle itself. Let it melt and fade away. And as you rest here in this peaceful space, begin to invite in a joyous memory into your awareness. Something that brings absolute joy, love, pleasure into your being. Maybe this is an activity, a person, an animal, or a place. Whatever pops up for you first, just allow it to come in. And using your senses, bring yourself as though you're there in it or with it right now. Notice what you see, what you hear, maybe what you can touch or smell or taste. Allow this memory to fill your heart. And notice in your body how it feels to be in this memory right now. And as you're here, you can either stay with the memory or thank it and let it drift away. But take the next couple of moments to just feel into the emotional, to the energetic state within and around you. Let yourself just be here and now. Eventually, begin to introduce small wiggles to the toes, the fingers, the wrists and ankles, as you gently draw the awareness back into your body. And only when you feel ready to move your body, gently roll over to either side and pause there to rest in a fetal position. Take your time. And again, only when it feels ready to move your body, gently press yourself all the way up to seated, keeping the eyes softly closed as you move. Again, take your time. We'll eventually meet up with the eyes closed and palms touching at heart center. Take a couple of moments to consciously realize how you feel right now. Bring your awareness to your mind, your head space, and explore how it feels. What's the first word that comes to you to describe the state of your mind right now? Gently draw your awareness towards your body, maybe even taking a second to pause and notice the sacrum, the region below the belly button, the sacral chakra. How does your body feel? What's the first word that comes up to describe it? And eventually tune into your emotional well-being. What emotion do you feel right now? And just notice, observe, and let it be. Take a moment and truly give yourself a smile. Really thank yourself for showing up here today and for dedicating the time to cultivating a beautiful state within and all around you. And thank you very, very much for sharing your beautiful practice and energy with me and everybody else here today. The light in me truly honors the light in you. Namaste.